Hi everyone, and welcome to another review. So today I'm going to be reviewing the 511 Overbust corset made by Orchard Corset. So here's the front, the side, the back, and the other side. I actually have two of these corsets. This one is old stock. The other one, the blue one that I have, is new stock, and they use different materials in their construction. However, the cut and shape are still the same. And here's a newer version of the CS-511 in the same size, just in satin this time. So here's the front, side, back, another side. So the center front of this is about 15 inches from the peak of the bust down to about lap area is just short of 16 inches. In terms of the circumferential measurements, for the waist size here, which is a size 24, the bust is about 32, so it's about 8 inches larger than the waist, and the hips here are about 34, 35-ish inches, so a little bit over 10 inches larger than the waist. This has a gentle sweetheart neckline, and I feel fairly covered in it. I feel fairly secure, and you can also see that this is a bit of a long line corset. My iliac crest is right there, so it extends down maybe another 3 inches or so, but it still gives me enough room to sit down if I want to. On the Orchard Corset website, this is said to be a level 3 silhouette, which is their curviest silhouette. So here are the two corsets laying flat. For the materials, both of them have 3 layers in the corsets. This one has the fashion fabric of the tartan weave, and it is a coarse weave, and I believe the outside is polyester, but the inside has a cotton twill lining here. And for this one, it's in a royal blue satin that's also 100% polyester, and on the inside you also have the same cotton twill lining. And if I had to inject a little subjectivity into this review, I would say that I probably prefer this tartan fabric or their brocades more than I like their satins, because it's less likely to wrinkle when it's on the body. It's also more resistant to abrasion, so you don't have to worry that, you know, if you catch a little bit of Velcro on it or something sharp or pull a thread, you're going to see the line right through it, the way that satin is more delicate and more likely to show wrinkles and abrasion. I also really like how the stripes all match up in this tartan. So the seamstress who made this was actually conscientious enough to cut and sew the panels in such a way that the lines here match up from one side to another, which I appreciated. And for the remainder of the review, I'm going to be using this corset because it's newer and probably more reflective of their more current stock. So for the construction of this, if I turn it on its side, you can see it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels. There's 3 panels for the front, 3 panels for the back. Panels 1 and 2 are what create the curve of the bust here, and panels 3 and 4 are what create the curve around the hip. And the assembly of this is very similar to some of their other corsets like the CS-426 and 411 in that it is constructed with the sandwich method. So basically the fashion layer was all assembled together from panel 1 to panel 6, and the lining fabric was all assembled together from panel 1 to panel 6, and then you put them both wrong sides together and sewed, and stitched in the ditch right there. And so the bones are sandwiched between 2 layers, which is why it's called the sandwich method, and you can see that it's double boned on all the seams. Also, there's a 1-inch wide waist tape running through the entire width of this corset, and I'm not sure if it's coming out with this poor lighting here, but it is sandwiched between the 2 layers just running through. The binding on this corset is made from bias strips of the same matching blue satin. It's machine stitched on the outside and on the inside here, and it also comes with 6 garter tabs, 3 on each side. However, on the tartan corset, the binding is just made from commercial black satin bias binding, probably because doing a binding on this sort of matching fabric would probably be much too bulky. The waist tape in this corset is about 5.5 inches long, so I would say maybe 4 inches of usable space. It's unstiffened, finished in the same blue satin here, and sewn onto one side, so if you hate Modesty panels, you can just remove that stitching. The thing that I actually really like about this particular corset is that the Modesty panel and also the last panel by the Grommets is in the same matching blue satin. By contrast, some of their other corsets, like this tartan one, has the black satin on the underside as well as a black satin Modesty panel. So it's not like continuous all the way around. You can also see that this corset has a Modesty placket on the knob side of the Busk in matching blue satin, whereas some of their old stock of corsets didn't have this Modesty placket. The Busk in this corset is about 13.5 inches long with 6 pins. The last 2 pins are a tiny bit closer together than the other ones, which is normal. This is a standard width Busk, so 1/2 inch on each side. However, it's a little bit stiffer than some of the other 1/2 inch wide busks that I had worked with before. And this corset has a total of 22 bones in here, not including the Busk. It's mostly double boned on the seams here, so you can see 2, 4, 6, 8, and then there's 9. They didn't put another bone on the second half of that panel. Probably because in my size 22 corsets, it's almost too small of a gap in that very last panel right there to fit another bone in there. And so these are all 1/4 inch wide spiral steel bones. And then on the back here, you can also see that there are 2 bones sandwiching the grommets. Here's a close-up of the grommets. There are 24 2-part size 00 grommets in this corset, 12 on each side, and they're all equidistantly spaced apart. I would say that of any of the changes that they have done in their corsets, the grommets was probably the biggest improvement. Because you can see here on the back, very few of these are split or cracked, and even those that are, they have never caught on the laces on this particular corset. You can also see that the washers are still shiny, they're not tarnished or anything. I don't know if you remember in one of my previous reviews, I was really disappointed in the grommets because they used to catch so much on the laces and they used to become discolored after a time, but these ones are holding in quite well, so I think of any of the changes that they made in their corsets, the grommets were probably their biggest improvement. And the laces are still their standard laces. They are 1/4 inch wide, braided, flat, shoelace style laces with just a little bit of spring to them, but now they also have ribbon and paracord on their site, so if you hate these laces, then you can just get some different ones. The price for this Overbust on the Orchard Corset website is about $80 for either the satin finish or the tartan finish. And now for the bust test. I think this corset gets a 4 out of 4 on the bust test. The bust comes quite high, and I don't feel that I have any possibility that I'm going to be popping out of this. I have also done the bust test on the blue corset, the blue Overbust corset, had the same results. I'm not going to show it all on video again for you, but you can see in the Orchard Corset Harlem Shake video that I am moving around quite a lot, and there's absolutely no popping out there. So I feel pretty safe in this corset. And this concludes the review for the CS-511 Overbust corset by Orchard Corset. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did like it, then please click that like button, help support the channel, and leave a comment down below if you have any comments or questions. And I'll see you in a few days for the next video. Bye!